people, and welcome back to part 26 of Egginburgh. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I was just about to start the episode over on the hillside over here for today's build, but notice there's a pedestrian traffic jam in the city centre, which is not good. So I think the problem here is our tram stops are simply too close to the junction and everyone's trying to cross here, which isn't good. So I think we're going to move them back a little bit. Why don't we put them directly out the front of the big medical university? I think that might be quite a lot of fun, mightn't it? And then we'll get these to stop at their relevant sides. Hopefully, once we let the simulation play. Oh, the tram has entered another dimension. There we go. Vast amounts of sims. Now moving along. So I think that should fix it, really. Looks like maybe we could do with a couple more turning lanes here as well, so why don't we throw down a little bit of asymmetrical action here as well. See if we can get those cars moving a little bit. And I think this one's just so busy, isn't it? Because, yeah, I was going to suggest maybe a pedestrian overpass here, but I think they're only crossing in such volumes because the tram stops were here. So it's either going to move the problem down the road or it's going to fix it. So we'll let the simulation play and hopefully everyone can catch up now, but that does seem to be flowing a little bit smoother. But we'll check back on that later on. But either way, everyone, welcome back to Egginburgh, where we'll start off with a little traffic fix. And thanks for your support last week. You guys very much enjoyed the big, prestigious National Art Gallery, and indeed thanks for your support on the Motherboard content as well. Nice to see you all enjoying it. But I asked you guys last week what you want to see over here, and I think the overwhelming response was the Matt Damon temple over here, isn't it? So this one's a real nice asset. Throw this down, take a look at it. So we're going to make a big party feature out of this today. We also want to use some of the road upgrade tools to make a bit of a song and dance about it. But right now it's a little bit low to the ground, I think, isn't it? Is the best way to describe it. So I think I want to do something a bit more interesting with it. So let's first of all bring up some terraforming, shall we? So let's go into our shift terrain tool. Now there is a bit of a natural crescendo in the hill here, but I'd rather it kind of be more in the middle. And I think we're also going to delete Glade Street here too. We'll reform the road hierarchy in today's episode. So let's bring up our brush size a touch. And let's go for about there, I think. Maybe a touch less than that. Actually, it is quite tall, that one, isn't it? So let's bring that down and we'll have it about there. I just want to get a kind of sense of scale of this hill. So let's, for example, jump down onto the street in the city centre. And I really want to be able to see this temple from essentially wherever we are in the city. So that one seems to be quite a nice height there, doesn't it? I think I'm happy with that. So let's use our slope terrain tool and we'll just generally slope up in kind of a big spiral pattern around the edge of it from each area. Super, so I think that's what I'm looking for, just a more natural rise and crescendo in the hill, which does now allow us to place down our landmark, which is the Namdaemun, which is one of the 8 gates of the Fortress Wall of Seoul in South Korea, which surrounded the city in the 14th century, first built in 1398 and then rebuilt in 1447. It is a historic pagoda-style gateway, and it is designated as the first national treasure of South Korea. A wonderful shout out to the Korean subscribers, everyone. So I reckon I want this facing into the city, about there. Right. That's going to be pretty nice. But what I'd then like to do is come into our roads. So I want to turn off my guideline snap in here. And I'm looking to line up in the middle of the building. Now let's bring that down about 80 meters, I think. That should be what I'm after pretty much. And what I'd then like to do is repeat that pretty much on all four corners of the building. And then using the level terrain tool, I essentially want to make a circle, or at least just something that allows me to have all of these roads end on the same height is really what I'm after. I can deal with a 1 or 2 contour line differentiation. Of course, move it can adjust the exact height. That's really what I want to happen. But now let's come back into our curve tool and we'll throw on the guideline, and then I'd like to align now with the edge of this. We also want to turn off grid snapping as well, really. And then I just want to line up with each guideline, so that's 137 meters. That gives us not quite the perfect circle, but within a few meters either way. So we have something that looks a little bit like that, which does need to be corrected in certain places, granted. Then a little bit of soften just to bring all those layers back together, and especially where we terraformed around the edge as well, just to reaffirm that initial layer of terraforming we did. Should give me the kind of plinth effect I'm looking for, I think. Yeah, so I think I'm pretty happy with that. What I'd now like to explore is actually upgrading this road here. Now we only need a 1 road connection up to this asset, so this should be okay. I'll just delete this little slither of bridge that's managed to form here too. Using the road upgrade tools, I'd like to add a retaining wall to the inside of this ring here, which should give us a really cool aesthetic, I think. I think I'll also probably add it to the pedestrian street itself. Yeah, so we end up with something that looks like this. So now what we do is come up to our level terrain, and then I guess let's just test out a couple of different heights. Let's go for like 4 or 5 contour lines there, and then push that retaining wall up to the corner. Probably say that's about the right height, isn't it? I think I'd say I'm happy with that. But now just a case of pushing that all the way around at the edge of the ring. Yeah, to eventually reveal that kind of aesthetic. It's super important to be having flat roads here, otherwise you end up with all sorts of weird bumps, but that's the general concept. And then I think with that soften tool we can just blend that cliff layer back in. And then once all said and done, I think that's a really cool way to kind of highlight this temple, isn't it? We can have this set up here. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Great view up here as well. Fabulous. So I think that looks pretty fancy, doesn't it? really like that. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Cool. So from certain angles it does have some dimensional tearing. I think that's just going to be a bug of using the road upgrades to force it, but we can live with it, I think. So now let's spawn some road hierarchy all around this park. So I'd like this to be kind of a big park feature in the city. So first of all, let's bring our road out the front here. I really do with a 2-lane with median. That'd be a great road to have, I think. So now I just want to do continuous curve all the way back down, I think, to this main road junction in the downtown. Let's go for about here. And we do have some slight awkwardness there with the roads, don't we? So why don't we see if there's a that's a tornado on top of the mountain, doesn't it? It looks like a condom caught in the wind, doesn't it? They really need to retexture this. Just look at this gradient here. It looks like it might enjoy a bit of a reslope, I think, mightn't it? So let's just reform this now. This hill's changed shape a little bit. So we'll go from there, and then we just want to push. We have to delete this commercial as well. I'm not massively precious about it. To be honest, it's all gas stations anyway. So I'm quite happy to delete it. So then let's just run this right the way through, all the way to the top there. Splendid and tremendous. We'll do the same here as well. Because although I am happy to factor in the hill into downtown Edinburgh, I think too much of it does lead to a little bit too much cliff texture, doesn't it? So this is wonderful. This is just the regular road. Let's snap in back here. You'll come in straight back in on 90 degrees there. And it was just a bunch of low density commercial space we had here, wasn't it? So that can grow back in, no problem. Oh, we also forgot this road as well. Let's not forget that one. That's going to give us a real nice wind down here. I think in terms of more road upgrades, we'll definitely have all of this tree lined and grass lined as well when they run up to the park. Can we also grass line the outside of our thing here? Oh, that does mess with my retaining wall. I'm hoping that's just a terraforming correction. It's not, is it? That is not a terraforming correction. Yeah, that road upgrade does mess with the two segments. You can really see where it peels it back. So that's not an option, but that's okay. We'll just do our own tree line around the edge, I think, to further landscape it during the detail time lapse. And we'll definitely get tree lines up this main road here as well. Kind of thinking a bit of a King's Park kind of complex here, if anyone's familiar with Sydney, of course. Or was it Perth, King's Park? I think it's Perth, isn't it? Have to excuse me. I've been looking at a ton of Australian cities recently. Let's also remove the grass from here as well. Here we go. But that gives us at least a way into the temple up here, which is looking pretty cool. Also get this upgraded with grass and trees as well as people come up here. So I think I want this landscape to be filled with kind of fun and games and general recreation. But we are on a hillside, so that could prove to be a little more difficult than it would otherwise be. Do we want to have... I guess we could just complete all 4 roads in, couldn't we? I think it probably makes sense, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, let's just go ahead and complete that pattern all the way around. Fantastic. That is wonderful, isn't it? Look at that. Really happy with that now. Love the wavy roads just winding back down into the initial road infrastructure. It'll be a lot of fun. That seems people move around here now as well. So yeah, I'd just like some other general, I guess, park recreation here. So we'll probably have to stick to smaller parks, I think. So let's first of all just pick out a little spot here. I wouldn't mind... Yeah, let's break off this road here. We will bring it back in. I would like some commercial around here as well. You imagine there'd probably be quite a lot of families and tourists that come and utilize a place like this. So would like some commercial present, which I think will actually begin zoning up here right now. And I guess also over here as well. Could do some more row housing here too, actually. Wouldn't be averse to that. Yeah, let's do some row housing. Do some commercial. Mixed in here as well with the occasional row house. Try and keep it nice and varied. And maybe an office block on the corner there too. With a touch more commercial, why there is such large customer concentrations here, we might as well. Oh, look at that. We get the streamlined diner, a classic American style diner. But just when you want some nostalgia. Well, that's perfect. Speaking of sort of families and tourists, a diner would be perfect, wouldn't it? So we'll have that over here too. There's also, I think I do want slip roads onto the highway here. No, I don't think so. Although having just seen another opportunity, could be a nice shout to have a bridge essentially run that way. Connect up with the Industrial National Road over here. Would take pressure, then again there. Yeah, no, that's fine. They're connected either side anyway over here, so it's okay. But yes, now we have this in here. Let's go ahead and start to arrange some further park facilities. So again, we're going to try stay off the insane gradients here. Let's try have this one, for example, down here. We'll place these two next door to each other. Thankfully, move it is here now, so a little bit of alignment can go a long way. I'm just going to push a little bit of land back because where I want to put my custom car parks, I would rather have this be much flatter, and then we can form the land around that. So we'll definitely give these an alleyway road just for the more subtle network connection. And then we'll wrap this up around the side as well. Now I think I'd want to use the invisible two-way networks here just to help create some custom car parking. So let's do a little stretch through there, and we'll do two here. We'll like a fair bit of car parking here, I think. You know, this is going to be a pretty busy tourist destination, so don't want to neglect any parking here. And then if we can wrap this up, I'd like to try and make some more interesting shapes where possible. That should be okay there. And then we can just feed this back into existing networks on this side. Let's try and make some patterns there where it makes sense, right? Wonderful news. And then we can just grab a surface, of course. Let's go ahead and search for, I think pavement is the one that we want. So yeah, let's grab pavement surface number 1. And then with this, with all it's snapping on, we should just be able to give it a nice little hug with that pavement surface painter to create some custom car parks here. Wicked. And then let's grab ourselves some old vegetation. And how about some hickories? It's not a tree we use overly often here, is it? We'll have some hickories in the middle, and then either side of these larger concrete spaces we can have some flower bushes. Go ahead and reblend that terrain layer back in that we flattened out just to make sure we had some nice flat car parking. Which a little bit of softened terrain should see to very nicely indeed. And then that way we can just have a little sports outcrop here, right? I don't hate that at all. A place to park up, some tennis courts here if you want. I'd definitely love to explore that signature building while we unlocked it, if I can dive into it. It was commercial, wasn't it? Yeah, streamlined diner. So a classic American style diner building for when you just want some nostalgia. Let's have a look at this, shall we? This is very tasteful. This is really nice. So this has got some extendable props out here, hasn't it? So why don't we take advantage of this on another sort of part of the hill, if you like. We'll come do a few more of these during our detailing time lapse, I think. But let's, for example, come over here. So let's say we dropped in our diner. I'd like it to have a nice view over the city. Somewhere about there. Let's then flatten the terrain out on this layer, like we did with the tennis courts, just so we don't have any people sliding downhill while they're eating a hamburger, for example. And then we just have a little diner here. Let's give this another alleyway road. Now, those are just tile surfaces, aren't they? So if we were to grab our tiles, I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but because it is an expandable area, I reckon we should just to be able to pull it directly over or something like that, and then using the picker to grab the tables and chairs, we can just expand this pattern out, and then before we know it, we'll have a little custom eatery. Stick Anarchy on here as well, and people can shelter in the never-ending pissing rain of Edinburgh. it's never sunny here. Can we get that hedge as well? I'm not sure if there is a hedge prop actually. I haven't actually checked before. Yeah, there's I could do a low piece though, couldn't I? Can we set this on a line tour with fence mode perhaps? Will this work? Sort of, but not really. It's a bit rough, but the point is there of just what I want to make. Now hopefully we can expand this out and have a little diner up here, and you can enjoy a very, very nice view with your burger, right? That's that's a tornado. Is that destroying the suburb? Are you pain in the ass? Always just destroying the green belt. That's 2 tornadoes in today's episode. Is that a helicopter? Flying through the tornado? Is indeed, isn't it? Yeah. Tornado that's come straight from the PS2. over to CS2. Anyway, wonderful. Cool. So let's give these guys a connection. We'll wrap this up with some road. Actually wouldn't mind wrapping this up entirely. For it to look a little bit like that, I think. Some terraforming still needed, of course. The thing I can definitely see us playing with some more of those road tools, so I'll show us that as an example in a second. But this can now just meander through that green belt, and will allow it to connect into the snaky roads that come up from the top. And this can also wind down into one of the arterial connections to the downtown. I'd love to give this E-wall here, and then just soften that terrain layer back out. Or actually probably flatten it really if we want to expose the key. Yeah, something like that, and then soften this out. There we go. And then again, maybe let's do some further custom car parking. So we'll search and now find it for invisible. Got the 2-way perpendicular parking. Let's do... And you don't want to connect these into the road, you just want them to be next to it. We'll have that one there. Then we'll do invisible road path this way. We'll do a bit more car parking. When you're getting used to these new parking networks, it's really a bit of a challenge to just decide what configurations you want. I think trying to treat them like parking lot roads from CS1 for those familiar with it is the best way to go, I think. Yeah, so we don't want existing geometry, we just want them to connect in like that. That should be fine. Go ahead and grab pavement again. And then we can fill these up to, look, we should be able to do this in one go actually, I think. Yeah, something like that is what I'm after. And again, all this can be embellished with your custom shrubbery. Let's do a couple of little birch lines here as well, shall we? And we'll grab some collection of various bush, cultivated and wild, both welcome. And then something like that should do us, I think. And then with the space around these little kind of orbital park sites, I think we'll just have some pretty cute and flexible pedestrian road, which we can have. Let's cross over the road here as well. Meander this down and just create more green space. The centre of Bourbon has ended up being significantly more green than I anticipated it to be, but I don't think that's really a bad thing, is it? Cool. And then blend that back in without encroaching upon the invisible road networks. As you can see, if the terrain isn't friendly for them, they do begin to disappear, so care is needed. But that's just another facility within the grounds of the larger temple to come and enjoy as a day out as a family. Not too bad at all, is it? But the concept is there, now it just needs to be detailed and fleshed out. Let's have a look at our trams as well. That we did at the start of the episode, if we can find them. Yeah, there we go, it's flowing much better that now, isn't it? It's totally cleared up actually, and that is what we like to see. So I honestly wonder if we want to keep this asymmetry going. I don't think the divided median lane was the way to go here, and if we did, it should have been probably 6 lane, but it is flowing now, isn't it? So I guess we can justify it that way. How is this tram line doing? Have a little look at it. Bourbon to Inverness. There's 901 passengers on it. The trams are a decent level. This one's pretty full. Where are you? Got 34 dogs on board. You love to see it, don't you? There we go. It's nice to see Egginburgh's tram network's really starting to pick up a little bit of traction now. I'm very happy with that. But there they go. Well, interesting. Can we see the temple from here? If we scroll up a little bit? No. Yes, we can. Just through there. There we go. There it is. Can we see it from kind of like lower Bourbon over here? Oh, we can as well. That's very cool, isn't it? If there's anything that pleases me in Cities Skylines over, well, out of all the different things the games can do, it's a sightline, I think, is the most satisfying thing, isn't it? Could be, anyway. But either way, let's detail up the rest of this park space with similar designs we talked about and further refinements, and then we'll be right back. guys, let's have a little detailed review, shall we? And the first thing I will say about this huge custom part build is that it looks fabulous from pretty much all directions of the city here. And this is really kind of the first instance, you know, of Bourbon beginning to envelop Inverness here. There's, you know, just suburb is starting to be swallowed by the expanse of the city. And I really love this hill, right? It's super cool. Huge fan of it. So the same thing is going to happen over here as well, right? The city will grow to just swallow Inverness into Bourbon, which is really cool. And I just checked up on our citizens as well. It's also named after our patrons. And everyone has grown up into a teen, except for Anthony, who is still a child. which I thought was hilarious. So we'll have a look where everyone is. So Anthony is a child living on the Egginburgh Royal Mile. He's all the way down here, which is very nice indeed. He is poorly educated, bless him. He's a student at the elementary school still, but he is wealthy, so who needs brains, right? Baba Fett is living in Whiskey as well, all the way over here. Student at the medical university, very nice indeed. John Robinson is living in Lower Bourbon, which is very nice, just opposite the field. He too is a student, which is very nice. Lucara, let's have a look where he is. Living in the Beach Properties District, over by the rails and the bridges in Lower Bourbon as well. A student also. I guess they're all students, aren't they, because they're all teens. Scope is living right in the heart of Whiskey over here, isn't he, by the bus interchange. Very nice. Great view from Scope's apartment, isn't it? Ron Hewins is over here too. Also living in Lower Bourbon, which is very nice. Right in the city here for Ron. And then, of course, DJ. Beautiful DJ. Oh, DJ is right next door to Ron. Would you look at that? I wonder what the chances of that were, right? Yeah, DJ and Ron are close friends. It would appear. It would appear they are. But welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the detailed review. So we'll start out at the top here, where we have drawn in some further texture extensions with some benches and some kiosks here as well before you arrive at the major tourist attraction itself here to explore the temple and the gate. And really enjoy the view across the downtown Bourbon here. Like, that's pretty special for me. I'm really happy with that sight line that's developed here. Just absolutely wonderful. Dropped in some park info signs as well, so now maybe you can get information on, you know, what exactly you're looking at, what the observation tower is, any historical buildings. You can see the dome of the National Art Gallery from here as well. And yeah, tremendously happy with it. Dropped in some advertising signs too. And then really just let the asset speak for itself. And this plinth work that we did at the start turned out super, super nice. This is now my favorite thing in Cities Skylines. To build a retaining wall like this around a unique building, certainly expect to see this on the channel again as we continue to explore CS2 together. Huge, enormous fan of that. And then around the grounds, we really just dropped in some hedge lining against the car parks and finished off some prop detailing where needed. And also expanded the key wall around this area here. Unfortunately, no one has moved in here yet, which is really weird considering we have screaming commercial demand. There's some, like, premium real estate commercial here, ready for rent. But hopefully at some point someone will move into this building here, so we can see some people move around, but just the power of Move It Right, being able to place those props and picker them exactly. Very nice indeed. Then the rest of the green space has just been fleshed out with pathways just to allow people to walk in the grounds of this really, really pretty asset. See, someone's on a dog walk here, where we've dropped in lots of oaks and spruce and wild bush and hedge and just tried to make it as organic looking as possible, really. So this flows over there. Further around, we have also brought in some beach properties over here as well. Nicer houses up against the greenbelt on the outskirts of the city. Over here, we do have a park asset itself where people can visit and also walk through to meet up with the tennis courts over here as well with some more parking and a skate park. I did end up removing one of the custom car parks here. I just wasn't happy at all with its positioning, and I thought that, you know, this would be enough. So happy with this one here. We will hopefully get some people parking here, and then around all the roads on the edge of the build here today. It's just been grass and tree lined as it begins to kind of fill the space. A little bit more commercial over here as well, and then also down on the bottom over this way. So it really sits in pretty specially, doesn't it, all around here. I'm really happy with it. It's a very unique parkscape that you can see it from pretty much anywhere in and around Inverness or Bourbon. It's pretty special, isn't it? I really love the hillside there. A great use of the space, and I think the Namdaemon temple certainly was the asset to go for, wasn't it? But otherwise, guys, it is going to do it for today. Let's thank you all so much indeed for watching. If you've enjoyed it, those likes, comments, and shares below really do help the channel to grow on our relentless march to 100,000 subscribers. If you do find yourself enjoying the content over and over again, please do consider subscribing. Possibly my new favourite build in Egginburgh, this park, and the cut and fill and retaining wall action with all the detail in the green belt around it, just right in the heart of the city here. Really ties the two towns together, doesn't it? And we've still got a little bit more work to do in Bourbon as well. Of course, I want to bring the central bank into that space near the medical university and develop a bit more infrastructure around there. And then I'd also like to bring in a second cargo port down by the airport as well on that water, and see if we can work in some fun freeway connections over there too. We are also getting some bugs with our train yard as well at the minute, so I'm not entirely sure how stable Egginburgh is. And I'm not sure what we'll do once Bourbon comes to a close. Maybe that'll be the point where we decide we move on to a new CS2 build on a custom map. But we'll wait and see anyway. We'll see what the consensus is amongst the audience. But either way, please do enjoy some cinematics of today's additions into Bourbon. But otherwise, let's thank you all so much indeed for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.